Hey, I had planned to do a more substantial video this month, but everything going on right now has left me drained, to say the least, and also hyper aware of how few of the albums I have laid out to cover on this channel are made by people of color. And I don't think I have either the authority or the talent as a wordsmith to say something meaningful, and it's not like my voice is what's important right now anyway. But just to be completely clear, for my part, Black Lives Matter. Black voices, achievements, sacrifices, and culture should all be elevated, not just now when it's good for image, but always. And I guess I should be at least a little of the change I want to see in the world. I've placed a helpful link in the description, a list of places to donate and petitions to sign, and I encourage you all to support artists of color because their perspective matters, always. Okay? Okay. John Coltrane owns. I think we can all agree on that. I'm not the most well-versed person in jazz, probably because I don't play music and I don't have a deeper appreciation for how improvisation and interplay between musicians works, but even then, I'm super down for John Coltrane, both for his passionate performances and the electricity that he brought out of the musicians he surrounded himself with. I'd say that Meditations is my favorite. It's basically like a frantic musical sermon with a lot of fire and brimstone parts, but I'd also put A Love Supreme and Interstellar Space in my admittedly sparse jazz canon. But okay, hot take. John Coltrane obviously slaps, but Alice Coltrane slaps even harder. I think what really sends her music into the stratosphere for me isn't just her playing, but her arrangements. Lord of Lords is one of the densest jazz albums I've ever heard, and every bit the equal of Meditations in terms of blazing musical sermonizing. And shoutouts to World Galaxy, which is probably even better and lusher and more breathtaking. And Universal Consciousness. Oh my god! Okay, just listen to Universal Consciousness. Listen to this album. But my favorite Alice album is a bit of a deeper cut. It's a collaboration album with fusion guitarist Carlos Santana of the band Santana that I should really actually listen to because I adore his playing on this album. It's obviously super steeped in Latin rock and blues, and much of it is a good deal slower than I usually look for in jazz, but God, I don't really have the right words to describe how it affects me. I realize soulful is a bit of a cliche word, but it really just feels spiritual, really weighty, and really deliberate in a way where I wouldn't really know what other word to use. The a cappella intro and the meditative Angel of Air definitely do their job slowly lowering you into the embrace of the album, but God, when Angel of Water unwinds and Alice's harp joins forces with Santana and Jules Broussard's saxophone, to say nothing of all the strings, the album really unveils its magic. Much of the album feels like a drony, ambient whirlwind of strings and super restrained playing from anyone in front of the strings, and the overall sound and atmosphere is really what sells it. You know, the playing, as great as it is really just a means to that end. But I mean, if exhilarating playing, especially from Santana, is what you want, you have to check out the album's penultimate centerpiece, the almost 15-minute Angel of Sunlight. It's a bit more traditionally jazz in the way that it cycles through the solos, and of course the way that it totally ramps up in energy as it goes on. If the rest of the album is too sedate for you, the explosion here is what you really need to go for. This album probably doesn't have what most people look for in a jazz album. You're not going to find a lot of strong grooves or energetic interplay for most of it, but again, as a drony, ambient whirlwind, as a meditative and wholly enveloping piece of spiritual expression, I found it to be incredibly powerful, and honestly, it's currently my favorite jazz album of all time. Even in Alice's discography, I haven't heard anything quite like it, and that's an incredibly worthy accolade for any album. So you might notice through this video, I didn't at all mention Alice's most popular album, which is that collaboration that she did with Pharoah Sanders that I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the name of. The reason why I didn't talk about it is because you probably already know about it. Because it's for normies. It's for norm. Listen to the rest of her music. The rest, so much of her music, especially after that album, is way better. Y'all reminded me of there was the What's in My Bag episode with the guy from Opeth, where he's talking about John Coltrane did all these great normie jazz albums, but then he did Ascension or whatever, and it was rubbish.
And I love the Love Supreme, Ole, those records. But then he went spiritual and put out a couple of records like Om and Ascension. Horrible. Horrible. Dream Theater.
Don't be like him. Don't be like the don't be like the guy from Opeth. What am I